Well, when we were talking to people about their first time experiences, no one actually had a first kiss, which I found really strange. So I'm going to tell you about my first kiss. I was 13 years old. I was a little bit of a late bloomer. Everyone else I knew had their first kiss like at 10 or 9, or the really slutty ones like at 7. And I went to my friend Jenny's birthday party. And Jenny was one of those cool sort of goth girls. She always wore like a torn Susie Sue shirt. And all her friends were girls that wore dog collars and had like military issue lunchboxes for purses. And they would put safety pins in their face as jewelry, surrounded by like totally rough looking wounds that were probably really infected. Those kind of girls, my kind of people. And I got to her house because she was having her party there for her birthday, and her mother entered the door. And her mother was this big, giant woman with long dark hair parted in the middle, who wore an assortment of bizarre muumuus. She sort of looked like she escaped from the set of Jesus Christ Superstar. Or like Mama Cass, if the ham sandwich ever happened. So she gave me a big hug. She said, "David, we're so glad you could make it." She always had one thing in each hand. She had a cigarette in one hand, and in the other hand, she had an air freshener. And she did this really bizarre, fucked up thing where she would go around her own house, and she would be like in her own kitchen, like putting out a cigarette. And as she put it out, she seemed suddenly shocked by like the shelves of smoke in the room. And then she would look around disgusted and then just spray like Ocean Breeze or Vanilla Bean and then storm out of the room. And she treated all the rooms in her home like this, like some stranger was coming in and filling it with like toxins. But she was very sweet, and she was one of those moms that was like the cool mom that let all the friends party. And it was really neat, but she was single, so she didn't really have much of a life, so she was always sort of too involved in her daughter's boyfriends and infighting and stuff, but she was very nice. So Jenny's having her birthday party, and we hang out for a while. We all watch the GNR Patience video and try to mimic that little Axl Rose boots, scoot he does. And then we go in her bedroom and we make each other's teeth look funny with a black light, and we smoke clove cigarettes out of her window. And eventually we go into the living room and her mom is gone, and Jenny says, "Hey guys, my mom just went into her bedroom to watch LA Law. She'll be in there for like an hour. We should play Spin the Bottle." So immediately, like, my gut is like, oh my god, I've never kissed anyone, this is gonna be horrible. But as we sit down in a circle, I think, like, I look around and I'm like, you know what? All these kids are pretty attractive. I could kiss any of these people. I think this is gonna be all right. And right as I thought that, the doorbell rang. This girl comes in. She was maybe 6'1". She had long, like Ted Bundy ironed hair, like the kind of hair that he liked. She had those kind of bifocals where there's a line and the top half of your eye looks giant compared to the bottom half of your eye. She had a mouth full of braces, and where her nose should have been, there was a mound covered in just straps of surgical tape, like thick-cut bacon sort of straps of surgical tape across the middle of her face. So she sits down across from me, and the minute she sits down, it's like, she wants it. She wants all of this. And I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of like, hey, stop looking at me. And we start playing Spin the Bottle. So, there's like 3 people going around, and every time someone kisses, I kind of divert my attention, and we all joke or laugh. And then when I look over, she's still just... So finally, it gets to be her turn. She literally spins the bottle like this. So she starts to come towards me, and I can't stop staring at her thick-cut bacon slab surgical tape. And as she's right up to my face, she says, "My name's Allison. I just had sinus surgery." David, charmed. She smashes her face against my face, and there's a lot of sensory things happening. There's the roughness of the surgical tape on my nose. There's the metallic sensation on my lip. It's sort of like making out with an empty can of tuna is the best way to describe it. But the weirdest thing was, you know, when you kiss someone, you forget that it's made possible by the fact that you can breathe through your nose. When you can't breathe through your nose, kissing goes like this. There were a few points where she did form a total seal, and it was literally like I had that moment where she was drawing breath from my body. If it was a cartoon, my abdomen would have been like, what? So it's going on for what feels like half an hour. It's probably like 8 seconds, and I go to back away, and I feel a hand on my shoulder, and it's hers. It's like, but it was like a bear paw. It was like Smokey the Bear. We still got litter to pick up. So as we're still kissing, I hear my friend Jen, you know, like a teenager, be like, "Come on, guys, get a room already." But she didn't say it like that, like a fun teenager. She said it like, "Come on, guys, get a room or something." She was scared for me. I think everyone was scared for me. They had that moment where they were like, is she gonna let this guy go or not? Finally, the kiss did end, and I drew breath again for the first time. And the first thing I remember looking at, trying to recover from this, was I looked into the kitchen, and there in the kitchen was Jenny's mom lighting a Benson and Hedges 100 off the stovetop. Looking. I don't know how long she'd been there. I don't know when LA Law ended. But she looked at me with a cigarette and just did this. The look might have meant, yeah, David, you kissed someone. But I had the feeling that what it actually meant was, yeah, that was as gross as you thought it was going to be, wasn't it? Jenny told me that later, actually, Allison, about 2 years later, lost a bunch of weight and became some kind of like bombshell fitness instructor, which, with a nose, which I don't believe. So, Allison, if you're here, or if you hear this podcast later, email me a JPEG or something, because I really want to see this. Anyway, coming up next is a girl that I never have a problem